Hi, it's Toby from Heavyweight MMA. Today with up-and-coming rising star of kickboxing, Regan. How are you, man?
Yeah, good, man. Just cruising out.
Good, man. I just wanted to kick off with an introduction of yourself. Let us know about your career up to date, what sort of titles you got, what sort of rules you've been competing in.
Yeah, sweet. So I started when I was had my first fight when I was 14. That was full Thai rules, and then eventually I went to K1, and ever since then I've just been doing a lot of K1 and boxing. Here and there I fought full Thai rules, but I've acquired a fair few titles since then. Since starting, I'm 25 now. So I've fought in Europe twice, America. I've got a fair few Aussie titles, South Pacific titles, and yeah, man. So just I've got a few fights coming up towards the end of the year as well. So it's been working hard.
Yeah, man. So you've fought a couple of different rule sets. Talking about Muay Thai, boxing, K1 style kickboxing. Any other sort of codes you've competed in?
No, not really, man. Like I've started trying to learn a little bit of the ground stuff here and there, especially during COVID. Didn't really fight too much during COVID, so I was starting to get into the ground sort of stuff a little bit. It's just good to be a beginner again at something else, you know what I mean? It's just good to sort of learn a new skill set. So I definitely like to give it a crack. I'm a fan of all sort of combat sports. I watch, UFC, boxing, K1, you know what I mean?
Man, well, you've got Jamie Mullarkey nearby to sort of help you out with that, right? Like, it's a good sort of guy that you've actually trained with for a long, long time, right? So he can sort of help you get engaged in the ground game.
Yeah, that's right. No, he's got a tough opponent coming up, so we did a bit of sparring on the weekend, and he was taking me down pretty easy, so it's motivated me to learn that ground stuff.
Nice, man. I saw a picture of you. It was like a 6-year-old picture on your Instagram of you and Jamie both with like bleeding noses after a session.
Yeah. Nah, we used to do some pretty hard rounds. I think that session it was we both had one foot in a little tire, so we were both of us came out bloody as after that.
Man, that sort of thing where you stand that close range is good. But what I've been doing for a long time, which I like a lot better than putting your foot in the tire, is just getting a BJJ belt, and you tie yourself about probably a little bit under a meter apart. It's the same thing, but you can actually move around. Like, you can still use your footwork. It's much better because in the tire it's kind of weird because your foot's just stuck.
Oh, because you can't move that. You can't move that front leg. So I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we love doing that one. So it's a good drill.
Yeah.
On the
nice.
Thinking of the ground game, bro, have you been looking at wrestling or BJJ or both?
Definitely both. I wouldn't just do one, but I know the wrestling obviously plays a very key component to the MMA game. So I definitely try to get me wrestling pretty solid. But you definitely got to know like everything. You know what I mean? That's what makes MMA so good. You got to know everything.
Hey, man, like you said, you prefer that K1 rule set. I think that's probably what you're suited to the most is watching a game. You're not like the Thai stylists. Like, you look at a Thai stylist, a little bit flat-footed usually, like generally a little bit flat, so a little bit slower. But you're a little bit faster, like fast twitch sort of movements and that, bro. And I think you're more suited to that K1 max style. And then also that sort of lends itself better to MMA as well. I think when you look at the MMA game, like in your sort of weight divisions, they're quite fast. And I think that plodding sort of Thai style maybe doesn't really suit MMA. So maybe your style probably should suit MMA, I reckon.
Yeah, I feel that when I move around with Jamie and stuff like that, like we got similar sort of styles. We're both bouncing, explosive, you know what I mean? That's why we get good rounds when we're sparring.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's why you don't really see many Thais in MMA, because they got their elbows up real high, and their hips are just waiting to get taken down, But I feel like the K1 style, like that side on sort of boxing stance. Yeah, I feel like that transition's pretty good to the MMA.
That's true, man. Is there any guys in MMA that you kind of aspire to be like if you do actually turn over to there?
I got a fair few guys I like watching. I love Piotr style. I'm a fan of like all of them, all those high level guys. Rafael Fiziev, I like his style.
Yeah, he's a high level striker, right? So you can see the parallels of what you need to do.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That, right?
I like that sort of stuff. I like looking at guys that I can see myself sort of fighting like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like Izzy and all that, but yeah, I don't think yeah, I'd like match up to his sort of style. Like Rafael Fiziev, I like that explosive, yeah, boxing into kicks sort of, yeah, combination fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. One of my favorite fights was Brad Riddell and Fizzy. That was awesome because those
Yeah,
guys are both like so high level that it was such a
yeah,
chess match,
and they
right?
know each other too. They know each
Yeah.
other too, so it was even harder for them.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so on the K1 side of things too, man, like being a K1 style fighter, have you actually spent a lot of time watching some of those old K1 Max? Because to me, that was one of the best like ever things to watch. I love K1 Max because I was similar weight when I was fighting as well. And those guys are the same weight, awesome skills, eh? Do you watch that?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I still watch it, but when I started in the full-time rules, I used to watch Borkow a lot when he used to fight in the K1 Max.
Yeah.
And yeah, I used to love that's the golden era, you know what I mean? When they had those 8-man tourneys and stuff like that. That was awesome. But yeah, like and Nicky Holskin, guys like that. I still watch him a fair bit. He's one of my favorite fighters, Nicky.
I love watching Andy Sow, man. Andy Sow is great to watch, like nice technique, high work rate, real good to watch.
Yeah, that's something I'm building up to go fighting is the K1 in Japan. I know a guy from New Zealand. He's a good bloke. He's from a management agency, Samurai Sports Management. But yeah, he just said I need to get a few more knockouts under my belt to show the Japanese promoters that I'm good enough to go over there and compete with their guys. So that's something else on the cards that I'm working towards. It's not as big as it was back in the day, but man, there's some high level guys in the K1 in Japan still.
That's it, man. And you've traveled around and fought a couple of places. Whereabouts have you fought other than Australia?
Yeah, I fought Bosnia, Budapest, and fought in Atlanta in America.
Nice, man. You like that, getting out of the country and traveling around, or it feels like stressful for you?
No, it's not really. I think I like that because that's sort of the reason I got into the sport. I wanted to fight the best from around the world. You know what I mean? Test yourself. And yeah, like going over to Europe and places like that. Yeah, you can just see the difference. Like it's like in competition. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's awesome.
Man, originally, where are you from? Are you from Sydney or are you from the Central Coast?
I'm from the Central Coast, so I grew up around like the Shelley Beach sort of area.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've just gone to school around there. Pretty much been here my whole life, eh?
Nice, man. I'm pretty familiar with there. When I first moved to the coast, I think I was 5 or something, and I lived at Long Jetty for a while and then moved to Erina, so not far away.
Right next to Shelley Beach, yeah.
That's it, man. And back when I was there, man, it was very limited, like what you could do. You could go to a PCYC and learn some boxing. There was only the odd kickboxing around, and Muay Thai hadn't really kicked off, like especially in New South Wales. When you kicked off, where did you start out up there?
Yeah, so when I started, I trained with two guys, Dan Richards and Johnny Hyde. Yeah, so I started my full Thai rules 6 months to a year. Like I'm the sort of, I'll wait for my trainer to tell me I'm ready to fight. Dan, he finally came up to me and he said, like, when are you going overdue? And I was like, fuck, well, yeah, if you want me to fight, I'll do it 100%. And yeah, I had my first full Thai rules fight when I was about 14, and yeah, I won that pretty convincingly. And then they had to unfortunately close their gym, but it worked out perfect for me. They sent me to a guy called Greg Foley, and yeah, I just made big improvements since then. I think one of the main things was just how technical he is. Yeah, he's a 5-time world champion. He's beaten Jab Raskarov. Yeah, he's fought all around the world as well, but he really took my career to the next level.
Yeah, man, I'm very aware of Greg Foley. And I saw you were training him. He was quite close to Jason Lapin as well with Zoo Fitness. You're kind of been related to them as well, right?
Yeah, I know Lapo. He's cornered me with Foley for one of the Australian titles I won. Yeah, it was awesome having those two in my corner. Like, can't really get better than that.
Nice, man. That's funny. you said you had a full Thai rules fight. Was that on the coast in New South Wales, or did you travel somewhere else?
Yeah, so I've had a fair few full Thai rules fights. Even when I was training with Foley, I've had a fair few. But yeah, so I had it on the coast. My first fight was just in a car park actually. My first full Thai rules fight. They just pitched like a circus sort of tent up, and it was on one of Tim Jury's shows.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was awesome. It was a good atmosphere. I was nervous. You know what it's like your first fight. Yeah, I was getting rubbed down fucking on the concrete, you know what I mean, of the car park. But yeah, it was good. It was a good night.
Yeah, Tim's a good guy, man. We actually trained together a bit with a trainer that did kick kung fu, it was called, and we were fighting like early days back on the coast. Another funny thing up on the coast, man. I was there, and the first time I heard of any Muay Thai was a guy called Jamie Tosland. I don't know if you heard of him, but he came through the coast and he was teaching, and he had this tournament. I just remember this tournament because it was like the Wild West, man. They had a tournament in a squash court, man. So there's a squash court. They just put mats on the ground and they fought full Thai rules when it was definitely not allowed anywhere in New South Wales.
Oh, fire.
Now at like full elbows and everything. Guys were hitting their heads on the back of the wall as they're fighting and everything. It was crazy, man. It was really like blood sport or something.
That's gnarly, bro. Yeah, fire out.
On that, man, you're fighting full Thai rules. Is that padded at all? Because you know, Central Coast, New South Wales, has always been a bitch for like fighting proper rules because they've always had real restrictive rule sets.
Yeah, that's right. So when I was younger, like 14, 15, so we didn't have any pads. We didn't have to wear headgear, nothing like that when we were amateur fighting that young. So yeah, I fought full Thai rules, no pads and stuff when I was about 15 or no, 14, 15. So yeah, I didn't really have to wear any sort of shin pads, headgear, none of that stuff when I was doing the full Thai rule stuff. Which yeah, that was good because there's nothing worse than fighting with the clinch with headgear on. You know what I mean? Your headgear turns on you and stuff like that. Because I remember when they brought it in, I had a few fights where they'd get me in the clinch and my headgear would spin on me and I can't see, you know what I mean? Like, to be honest, I reckon it's worse. You know what I mean? It's definitely worse. But yeah, no, I didn't really have to wear any pads.
Yeah, so as you moved on, I saw you had some kickboxing fights where you had some headgear on, right?
Yeah. So that's yeah, they changed it so you have to wear headgear like around when I was about 17, 18 or something. But yeah.
It's crazy, right? Like that stuff, they're really restricting New South Wales from kind of achieving the heights of some of the rest of the world or the rest of Australia by like restricting. Like when I was younger, it was like Queensland was fighting full Thai rules and we got to wear like shin pads and stuff. It's just like kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I don't like it, man. No.
Yeah. Man, and on the Thai style as well, I noticed that you've spent some time training over in Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, I love going to Tiger. It's just that street. It's called Shillong, where Tiger is. I don't know if you've been there, but it's just an easy lifestyle. You just wake up, train. Like I think the last time I went there about a month ago, I was training 3-4 times a day. You know what I mean? Because I love it. You know what I mean? I'd wake up, train. You get on your scooter, get a feed, go back, train. You know what I mean? They got ice baths there. There's another good place called Unit 27. It's good like for conditioning, strength and conditioning. But and also there's a lot of high level fighters there now. I don't think it's as like where it used to be more touristy, where now there's a lot of high level fighters getting into it, so you can spar a lot of high level guys there.
Yeah, man, I see that Bang Tao pop up a bit these days as well. It's a bit of a newer gym, right? And they got a lot of the high level MMA guys from the UFC and that there, so they're all looking pretty good now. Yeah,
I ended up doing a little scooter trip out there. Actually, I ended up on the Thai freeway. I was shitting myself, but it was about an hour and a half ride on a bloody little moped scooter thing. But yeah, it was good. That gym looks solid, eh?
Yeah, that's it, man. So, talking about the different gyms that you've trained at, like you train with Greg Foley, you train with some of the guys on the coast, you're training with Troy, the Nguyen warrior, Tukanu now, bro. What are the differences between these different gyms that you're trained at? What are the strengths and that sort of thing? Yeah,
so I've noticed main thing with like Foley's style is he had really good boxing. You know what I mean? He's had a fair few professional boxing fights as well. And obviously he's trained under Lapo and stuff like that. So his technique's second to none. I haven't really trained with anyone else that pays attention to that much detail, even when I go Thailand and stuff like that. Foley's he's always been the best coach I've ever had. Troy's very similar as well. Like I know with Troy, he pays attention to a lot of detail. Even training with him this morning, just his footwork, and still at 50 years old, he moves like a savage still. You know what I mean? I seen him hitting the bag, and I was like, "Fuck, this guy can still move." You know what I mean? Just their attention to detail. You know what I mean? And the way Foley could get his legs up so fast in between his punching combinations, that's something he showed me and helped me a lot with my fighting. Yeah, and angles as well. The angles. I'm not like just a in and out forward fighter. I love using the angles, using the ring craft.
And that's the way. It's the way to kind of limit the damage too, right? Is that moving around, like the lateral movement? You can either take the edge off the punch, or like because everyone fights directly forward, right? So if you do just off to the side of them, their punch can never reach that full power, you know. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
man. Talking about Troy, I remember holding pads for him, and he kept hitting the fucking pad off my hand, bro. Like no one in my life's ever done that. Even big dudes. I'm holding the focus mitts, and he's hitting it off my hand. He's getting frustrated because it kept coming off, man.
Oh,
that's just the power he had at the time, man. This was good like 15 years ago, or no, probably close to 20 years ago. But yeah, he had a lot of power, bro, for sure.
Yeah, man. I noticed it even this morning when he was just demonstrating stuff. I'm like, man, this guy, but he's explosive too. He's very explosive.
That's it, man. Man, so tell us what's your sort of typical week of training, because I kind of deal with quite a few of the MMA guys, but I haven't really talked to too many kickboxing guys. Like, how do you break up the week between different things? Are you adding other things in, like you're doing your strength and conditioning? Are you throwing in a bit of the grappling, like you said? How did your normal week go?
Yeah, so basically I used to do carpentry, right, when I was when I left school and all that sort of stuff, but it wasn't working out. I was just I don't know, it didn't connect me. I was just thinking of fighting all the time. So I ended up leaving that, and I started just training people, doing one-on-ones, privates.
Yep.
So I got a pretty busy with that. So I only really do that 3 days a week. So it gives me time to train. Still train once a day when I train people all throughout the day. But on my days off, I go hard. I'll train like 2-3 times a day. Yep. So sprints, I'll do those. You know what I mean? Strength and conditioning, I only do it twice a week. You know what I mean? I feel like I've got a pretty good base of strength and explosiveness. So I just maintain that. And I spar light maybe twice a week, and then I do probably a little bit harder one once a week. And as well, I try to get my pad work in twice a week.
Nice. When you're getting the sparring in, bro, do you like to get some different looks, like move around with some different people from different gyms and that?
Yeah. Well, I used to go down to Sydney a lot and spar a lot of different sort of guys. But I just sort of make sure the caliber of guys I'm sparring is high level, because I remember sometimes I'd spar with some lower level guys, and just their tendencies. Sometimes I go back to Foley and I'd be moving around with him, and he'd notice I'd pick up on a few things, because you are who you spar, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I always try and make sure I'm sparring, solid guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We're up on the coast now. What sort of people you got up there to spar with? Anyone around that's good? You mentioned Jamie Mullarkey, obviously. Any other guys around there that keep you sharp?
Yeah, so Jamie definitely keeps me sharp. There's another guy that I train. He just had I've trained his stand up for a while, but now he's actually become one of my good real good sparring partners. His name's Kyle McLean. He just had his first MMA fight against one of Volkanovski's boys not long ago, and he won by a TKO in the first round. But yeah, he's been training with me and Jamie for 4 or 5, I think even 6 years. But he's only just had his first fight end of last year. But he's very good. He gives me and Jamie even solid rounds in the stand-up department. You know what I mean? So I move around with him, and he's a name to watch out for too. I reckon he'll definitely. He's got what it takes to make it big. He's I don't know when his next fight is, but I'll keep my eyes on him. Also boxing. I got a few other guys. So I do a lot of boxing sparring. I feel like it's pretty important when you're a kickboxer. You got to be able to hang with the high level boxers. Yeah, you just got to remember not to dip your head too low. You know what I mean? Because the knees might come up.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. If you're fast and explosive enough, though, you can kind of get away with it sometimes, right? As long as you're aware of
Yeah,
the
that's
angles,
right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of people in kickboxing have kind of transitioned to boxing, usually more related to the money side of things. And is that something that's in your mind as well?
Yeah, that's definitely something I still have to do. Is I want to turn pro in boxing. Because I've had a lot of amateur boxing experience, but I never went pro in boxing. So it's definitely, when I watch the pro boxing in Australia, it's definitely something I think I can do and do well at. So yeah, and I got a few different connections too that can get me on some decent shows.
Yep, that's good, man. And what about, like, you mentioned that MMA, that there's a chance of MMA at some point. Is that something you've got like on a timeline that you think, oh, maybe in like a couple of years, or what's the thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely in a couple of years. Um, I'll definitely need to start adding back the wrestling into my training just
Yeah,
once, twice a week as well. Make time for that, and then hopefully, yeah, lay maybe, I don't know, 2, 3 years or something. Sort of
yeah,
the way Israel did it. You know what I mean? He
yeah.
started kickboxing and then he sort of moved over to the MMA when he was around like 20, 28. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I feel like the grappling's a real slow learning curve, eh? And I think it's, if you can like sneak in a couple of classes a week at like maybe one of the wrestling gyms, or Central Coast MMA has some wrestling classes and that, eh? And just kick on with that as the base, learn a bit of submission defense in BJJ somewhere, and then and then just keep doing it like on the back end, right? For a couple of years, like you said, you can kind of, get those skills down before you throw yourself in there, and then you don't have to just rely on your stand up alone, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. It's like yeah, I don't know if you know her, Jacinta Austin. She's yeah, well, she's done, yeah, the started with the kickboxing, then went to boxing. Now she's doing very well in MMA. So yeah, it's definitely something. Yeah, you can't just, sort of got to be doing it consistently, eh?
Yeah, man. Actually, that wouldn't be a bad thing to do a stint over at CKB at some point too, because it seems they got the formula for stand-up guys to turn into decent MMA fighters, right? Like most of their guys have got that stand-up base that seems to be their go-to, right?
100%. Yeah, one of the boys that came over with us to fight in Europe, uh, Brendan, his nickname's the Balkan Bear, but he's one of Izzy's sparring partners now. So he just went over there, and yeah, he's obviously made a lot of improvements being with those guys, as you would.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. The only thing is, I listen to a lot of their interviews and that they say it takes like a long time. A guy from Sydney, the Battle Draft, you know him. Anyway, he went over there. He said it takes a long time to get the system down. Like, you can go over there and spend a month or something, but you're not going to pick up the real system. Like, it takes a long time to kind of pick up the way they really teach, like the detail of their sort of style, you know.
Yeah, no, it would for sure.
Bro,
Yeah.
bro, on your sort of lifestyle, like training so much, doing lots of sprints 3 times a day on your days off working and that, like, it must take a toll on the body. How do you keep yourself, like, your body in shape, like that it doesn't disintegrate because you're training so hard? What do you do for like your recovery?
My recovery. So I've been doing ice bars a fair bit lately, eh? I was doing yoga and stuff a little bit,
Mm.
but I sort of got a bit over that. So ice baths, yeah, just sleep, man. Like, I reckon sleep's obviously, even though a lot of us don't get enough, I reckon sleep's so important. So I always try to make sure I get good sleep. Um, but yeah, man, yeah, and obviously you got to eat right.
Yeah, how much sleep do you get, man? Because that seems to be my downfall over my life, man. Trying to make myself
Yeah,
sleep.
so, no, I'm a bit the same. I've got a 2.5-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
So yeah, she at the start she sort of used to make me have a little bit of broken sleep, but now she's getting to the age where I can, yeah, sleep all the way through the night. So yeah, I definitely get better sleep now.
that's it, man. Hey, man, the MMA guys and kickboxing, that it's always a struggle in living. Like, obviously you're making some money for your PTs, which are related to your skills and that. But as far as fighting goes, how do you see yourself getting into the big dollars, man? What's the plans for the future?
Yeah, so definitely with kickboxing and stuff like that, there's obviously not a whole lot of money in it. I might just do that because it's my love, my passion and stuff like that. But yeah, money wise, definitely be boxing, MMA. But saying that, even kickboxing now, man, like I'd really like to. I really want to make it to one championship. You know what I mean? There's some good money in that at the moment. And I feel like it's only growing. You know what I mean? What they're doing with that sport. I think they did what the old K1 did in Japan. They put up 8-man for $1 million US prize last year or something like that. So hopefully it takes a turn because kickboxing is, I reckon it's the most exciting sport. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, that's what people like the most in MMA is when there's stand-up wars. So
that's what I mean. So hopefully when one championship gets more view, like more of a fan base out in the Western sort of world, it takes off.
Man, they have some amazing fights in there, and they're fighting with the small gloves a lot of the time too. So it makes it pretty wicked.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like even the Muay Thai, you seen Haggerty knock out that Nong-O guy. That was crazy, man. Yeah.
That's true. It was crazy, but that was one of the best little parts I've seen of it. You know, nice to see a Westerner get up over the Thais. Normally in their show, it's the other way around, right? Yeah,
that's what I mean, man. Like when I went to Thailand, all the Thai guys were saying, no one even wants to fight that Nong-O guy in Thailand. Everyone's scared of him. And then Haggerty's only had 20, I think he's 20-something professional fights, and then Nong-O's had like 400 plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think now he's calling out Liam Harrison, right? Like going for the true sort of European champion. I think he wants
the UK domestic. Yeah, it's sort of like the Eubank Junior versus Conor Benn fight that didn't happen. Yeah, that'd be good, eh?
Yeah, for sure, man. Cool. So the aim is to try. I think that's a perfect sort of aim to go for ONE FC, right? Like they're the one that really is pushing that mixed sort of rules so that you can get into whatever sort of code that you're interested in over there and maybe even transition like they do sometimes, you know?
Yeah, that's right. 100%.
Yeah. On that, man, have you ever Martin Nguyen? Have you ever done any training with Martin?
I haven't, no. But I know I think Jamie's done a little bit of work with him. Yeah, he's real high level. I've seen some of his knockouts, man. He's got some nice flying knees too. I like the flying knees.
Yeah, I'm in a place called Macau in China, and he came over here and fought, and that's where I met him and his old trainer, Furry, Liverpool. But yeah, I followed them around a bit. I saw him fight in one in Thailand as well, and he was supposed to fight in Singapore. I went over, yeah. Now, bro, just thinking about it, like, there's quite a few of those MMA guys around. Other than Jamie, have you had a chance to train with any of those guys? Like for example, you mentioned Volk's gym and that. They seem to kind of invite quite a few different people down there so they can keep their standard up, you know?
No, I haven't really done a whole lot with any of those guys, but that's something I want to do. Jamie has said I should go down there and do some stand-up rounds, and I think, I definitely need to, because you look at the level down there. They're bringing some solid guys down there to spar.
Yeah, man. I went down there when I came back. I just did a couple of sessions with Colby Thickness down there, and there's like all these guns in there, man. It's quite a great gym, you know. Good feeling in there as well. Like they're all nice guys and that. So yeah, you definitely should follow him down sometime, especially being one of Jamie's friends. They'll accept you in there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 100%. I got the foot in the door then.
Cool, bro. All right, man. Well, we've had a good little chat. Wishing you the best of luck in what you're doing, man, especially with those World Championships coming up in November in Portugal, bro. And I'll definitely be keeping an eye on you for the future. Can't wait to see you be successful, and kind of pumped to see you in one of the big leagues like ONE FC, bro. Yeah, thanks very much, bro. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Cool. All right, man.